fun match, and I think we have another really good match here coming up with the wrestler match. Who are they playing again?
Oh, yes, indeed. Wrestler versus Koopas. This one is gonna come out of Group B, and in Group C, we have 3 people who are provisionally making it out of the group and 2 players who are relatively new. While in Group D, it's a group with the highest floor. We have Wrestler, Hunu, Martini, Koopa, and Adafyash, and I'm pretty certain that everyone can make it out of the group. It just matters how the cards are gonna get played.
I checked my stats, and it had Wrestler as the weakest player in the group, mainly because Wrestler is the newest player. I just don't have as many stats as them on most, and that's ridiculous with how hot and strong Wrestler has looked recently. Um, Wrestler's been definitely a student of the game. They've put a lot of time into the game, both just by playing games recently, but also just thinking about the game. Koopa is becoming a bit of a veteran. They definitely were young blood for a long time, but eventually you actually do come around and be somebody who's played a lot of games and been around for a while. They definitely know what they're doing, and I think the biggest issue I've always had with Koopa's play is nerves, but it's the first round of Summer Cup. There's not much to be nervous about. We got one more set for you, and it's going to be Koopa Wrestler. We're starting back on Ballroom. It's going to be the same maps.
Yeah,
Cletus?
I'll bring up the draft just to remind people. Oh, and before the cast started, Wrestler did say that this was the better match. So, bold claims. We'll see if Wrestler was right.
To be fair, that is Wrestler, so you gonna hype yourself up. Wrestlers often do that, you may find out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know.
let's
The first match was pretty good though.
It was pretty good, and I think it will take some amount of pizzazz to
Yeah, I mean
outplay that one.
if we see 12 spy wins, then that's pretty good.
Well, it's not about the spy wins, it's about how you get them. And let's get over to our first potential spy win of the set, with Wrestler playing as Pearls on Ballroom in 3, 2, 1, playing it. So, Wrestler is probably my dark horse to run the tournament, even if I have put him as not making it out of groups. The competition is stiff in that group, but Wrestler, in my personal opinion, currently is on a very hot streak. He has won BTS, which is a tournament that Gagi has taken second in, and he has been performing relatively well in the Swiss tournaments recently, even winning some of those. Also, he is practically a regular at this point in LFG. I don't think a day is passed without him typing, well, I'm looking for a game, go play me. And as he has said,
exactly.
playing lots of games does increase your skill somewhat.
Yeah, and this whole group is so interesting because you have players like Kunu and Koopa who've just consistently been able to beat lesser players. They're very much just solid monsters with varying levels of success against equal or better players. And then you have these uh, very much students of the game in Wrestler and Martini who this could definitely be their breakout tournament, both to get out of this group, but also just do really well. While we've been chatting about the players, we've been getting some flirts done. It's 51 in the pocket. It should be actually full double greens. Wrestler is 2 for 2 on their green tests, and that's a good omen if you're looking to get some spy wins. Hitting green tests, definitely one way to win. The other way is going to be bug.
Oh, wait. Right, that's a thing that you need to get over. And yeah, you might have pointed out that Pong only said 4 names. There is also a little player called Adafyash, who everyone has been underestimating for at least the several last years, but currently it appears that he is an ensemble dark horse to win the whole thing.
Yeah,
so yeah,
Ad is somehow in the middle of the two things I described, where he's both been an absolute student of the game, but also been a real monster. And because of a lot of their games and things that are like seeded are against players who've generally also been fairly new, they've been incredibly successful. They've made like things like top 16, top 8 in previous Summer Cups. Might actually have the most success out of anybody in this group with previous cups too. to get back to the game, because it's about halfway done. They've got 2 missions done, so it's half the missions done. It's Flirt and Banana Bread. It's a very standard start. We're going to look like we want to get this briefcase. Back in my day, we used to get lowlights or that sort of thing, but spies have gotten so used to just uh, immediately turning around and doing, like the AI would, correct briefcase etiquette, that it's no longer even worth thinking about rewarding.
Speaking about the game, well, the 2 missions that we have done are pretty commonplace, but they're also pretty easy, and now it's the harder half of the missions that we need to complete. But that's not what I wanted to ask you about. I wanted to ask you about the time ad, because in my personal opinion, a time ad in the first game of the set is a little bit shady,
I
because
I think it's great.
you never just time ad in one game of the set, right? So if your opponent notices the time ad, you're pretty much under fire for any future time ads that you're gonna go for, right?
Yeah, so for how this game has gone, we definitely needed a time ad. It still hasn't actually given us that many good opportunities. We still felt like we had to take this pretty uh, flapdash purloin. This should be a shot, to be honest, and there
And
it
it
comes
is.
off. Koopa solidly seeing the bug path. Pearls, while it's very easy to hit the bug because she's slow, uh, is going to have a lot of wind up. It's going to take a long time for you to go near the ambassador, so the sniper's definitely going to be able to watch for it. And Koopa's got enough quality, especially with the highlight already on the spy, to take the shot. But as I was saying, with time ads, the starting off with the time ad here, both it was an appropriate time ad. I think this is definitely a time ad you want to be taking. But also, like, opponents don't remember to watch for time ad unless you remind them, which is a double-edged sword. As you're saying, if you do a time ad, they're going to be watching for it. But also, one more thing that they're watching that you don't necessarily have to do.
Mhm.
I mean, it's the most optional thing in the game, right? Like time ads, we saw in the first set quite happily not do.
Well, that is a very good point, and thank you for reminding us of that. Koopa gonna start their spy journey by picking off General. Unfortunately, the seduction target, in my opinion, is incorrect again. But that is just my opinion, and we've learned to ignore those. Let's start off the game in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Question here from chat from Vivo, and I'm happy they asked it and happy to answer it. So, in regards to Spy Party being a spy or sniper favorite game, at low levels, it's really 50-50. Like, if you're just starting up the game and you're playing against somebody equal, you'll see it go equal. Even at mid levels, it's still about 50-50. At the super high competitive levels, we are seeing sniper rates that are 55, 60. The best snipers, someone like Rob comes to mind, are pulling off something like an 80% sniper, and I think Rob is probably like 35% spy or 40% spy, just off the top of my head. So if you had two Rovs playing against each other, or Crazy Kaylee versus anybody, you're expecting it to be pretty sniper favored. That being said, Ballroom itself has always been competitively 50-50 uh, at like this sort of level. These players, while very good and should definitely be respected, are not
Ooh,
necessarily
and the
the hard
highlight
favorites.
for the briefcase. I'm not
Yeah,
sure if
that's not how
that's.
that briefcase works. With Ambassador reading the book, if that was going to be done correctly, Koopa would need to stop a lot earlier. And based on Koopa's shaking of their spy camera, they know that they are not happy about their action. I think they're not happy about their highlight because it felt pretty obvious when the laser came over to them.
Not everyone is gonna be happy about the highlight, especially not the spy.
Yeah,
But
and the problem is, against someone like Wrestler, you know that Wrestler knows how that works. Yeah, and that Wrestler is, to use the word lightly, a nerd about this game, and there's no chance that Wrestler doesn't have a full understanding, as full an understanding as you can have of how Briefcase works.
I don't think he has broken the barrier of games required to fully understand briefcase yet, but I'm pretty sure he's getting pretty close to that number. 80% on the flirt, one fingerprint in the pocket, but that's not nearly enough for us to have for a highlight that we have gotten, because we've essentially gotten highlight for nothing. Just half a mission? Yeah, that is not gonna fly in the higher tables.
Yeah, it's 10,000 games, but then it also goes up one time every time that Damon gets shot. So it's, I think, actually over 12,000 now to really understand Briefcase. The situation that we're in, Blue Bookcase has a fingerprint, Ambassador just returned from there. We're gonna finish Flirt. We're not actually in the worst spot to complete missions here with a minute left, but it would need to be something. With Zeke taking the book here, it's kind of ruined our plan. This will be a difficult print, and we could follow it up with a
Uh,
microphone if we hit the green test. We don't even hit the green test. Koopa putting it back immediately.
and Azratic
Interesting.
break. Pretty sure of it at least. There's
I
gonna
don't
be a
think we.
banana bread.
I think Banana Bread into Purloin is both our
Banana
best
bread.
option for potentially completing, but also potentially getting a civilian shot. I suspect it will die for the white test, and it is. Wrestler showing his quality, taking a shot here for the white test Banana Bread into Purloin. Good stuff from really both our players. And that would have been a finish if we'd hit the green test, so it's a very timely shot too from the sniper.
Yes, indeed. So the first venue, a sniper sweep, as you would honestly expect in a game between two players that plays a game a lot right now and are pretty good right now. I think it's more about who can get the spy game first is gonna win the set.
Yeah, and we
Or
definitely have more spy happy venues, spy not favored, but like strong spy venues like the pub, for example. The high rise coming up. Veranda here is not that. Veranda 5 of 8, because you have to complete 5 missions, you should not be expecting to see 2 spy wins like we saw in our first set. Wrestlers are going to usually need to pull off something pretty clever to get a win here, and we can see if they do in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
we can say that they are spy favorite as long as we mention that they are spy favorite against the rest of the field. Those statues on the in the back could potentially be swapped by Irish over there. That might be a potential target for the frame, but Wrestler, being at the other side of the venue, will not see it happen.
Yeah, and this is a huge problem with Veranda in general, right? Is a lot of things are going on, but the spy won't know about half of them. Just because if you're on one of the statues, you definitely can't see, say, 4 of the other statues.
An innocent watch check probably gonna get looked at in case a time ad occurs, so no time ad, naturally. Wrestler gonna go for a fingerprint on the book pretty much immediately. I'm not sure how easy it's gonna be to track fingerprints for Koopa, but if
It's a
they're
bit of
not
a gambit, right? If you are taking immediate fingerprints and you're seen, you usually jump to top suspect. But because you're pulling it very quickly, it's a bit easier to get away with it fully. Seduction target bails on us here. Wrestler actually has no flirt done. Trying to get his conversation to finish flirt. It shouldn't be a huge issue. We still have 3 minutes on the clock, but a bit unfortunate, and we've kind of been rewarded here if we want to take it with a banana bread. The back conversation to the left side is empty.
I have to point out that the seduction target actually bailed to the second set of statues for her, so this might be something to look at, even if you can't see Irish on the other side of the venue to know that she framed the swap potentially.
Banana bread.
You can still see the triangle, which might clue you in the fact that they might be standing right next to that statue pad.
I love
And
this play.
a print on the
It's
drink.
this is one of those plays that back in my day when I was looking at like the top level players, I just never saw. The banana bread covering the fingerprint is so powerful because there's so many things you expect banana breads to be covering. You got to be watching for bugs. You got to be watching for purloins. The taking the print makes it something that's really hard to catch as a sniper in what is a very pivotal moment of the game when a banana bread happens.
I'm at. It's gonna be a green, so it's not as noticeable to the sniper, because a green time ad just makes the sniper clock slightly slower, while a white just straight up adds it.
It's the worst kind of highlight, the drag over highlight, the highlight that you do when you're trying to hide and you're just coming around the corner and you put the highlight as your laser touches them. That really hints to me that Koopa might be onto, if not the fingerprint, I would say more likely to be the time ad. Just getting shot here for trying to flirt. Koopa not really having much of what Wrestler is selling in those last 30 seconds.
And we have talked about it, or rather, I've posed that as a question. If you're gonna time it, chances are you're gonna time it once more during the set at least. And once the first time it is off, all bets are off, and Koopa definitely on high alert after the first game.
If you're doing a white time ad on Veranda, doing it in the time ad corner is probably best. It's the least likely place for you to be seen. If you're doing a green time ad and they catch it immediately, it's the first thing that you check is going, was anybody in the time ad corner? Um, it's less likely to be caught because you hit the green test, but you kind of just wish that you weren't there. Doing it in front of the venue is actually kind of more inconspicuous. Koopa playing mom with a small lead here, though it's just been SpyParty so far. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
So, Rachel's over here going to the books immediately. Could potentially be a microfilm right out of the gate. I'm not sure it's gonna be because the spot is somewhat suspicious. There's not enough cover in the front of us. But it is gonna be, and it is gonna be a white test. The first action test, also the easier one, I'm gonna guess, is done. So,
I'm gonna say that's another sniper missing a blue bookcase white microfilm. This is not something that you should be missing too often. White microfilms are very visible. I am interested to see how Cooper is going to pull off the second one. It's usually going to be the green bookcase, but just a bit of a sign here that wrestler might be a bit vulnerable on what is generally a pretty safe venue in Veranda.
well, a quick talk for the flirt, immediate bailout. Not gonna be noticed. Veranda has a lot of people talking and a lot of people leaving, so checking every single exit is gonna be a pretty rough job for the sniper, which is why wrestler opts not to do it. The watch is checked, the time is not added, which I think is a correct option in this particular case. And we're just gonna go and wait until someone joins, presumably our seduction target. Nope.
Yeah, Irish's seduction target's not been very fruitful here recently. She's just been a bit finicky. Is
We
this
can
gonna
just
be enough? No. With the white test here and someone between us, 64% means that if we're gonna be finishing flirt, we are gonna need a green test or to do 2 different action tests. A bit unfortunate for Koopa, but not untenable. We can still complete missions, and while it's gonna be hard to get a shot on the civilian, you always have the option. There are 2 ways to win a game.
well, I'm gonna go to the book. It is a pretty nice bookshelf because usually when you're playing the games, there's a lot of people in front of you, but not in this case. Look at how empty and barren that left side of Veranda looks right now. The fingerprint is gonna be red as well, so kind of a painful game for Koopa, I think, so far.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see where, if anywhere, we're gonna do this microfilm. We could definitely just concede this game, not complete missions, and hope that a civilian shot goes off if we do a purloin or a swap. But there are a few good places to go do a microfilm. Doing it in the back window near the blue is a bit risky, but I mean it's the time ad window for a reason. Bug. It would have been really hard with the book in hand and not taken. It looks like Koopa might just be conceding that they're not going to be completing missions right now.
But
That
we
we are
will
doing
need
the
to
part.
do a few things if we want to successfully frame, right? We need to get at least one of the hardtails off because it is a 5 out of 8, and we also need the banana bread. The banana bread is coming off right now, it's gonna be a white test, and what about the lowlights? Let's see how wrestler takes them.
Yeah, the issue with the white
Banana
test
bread.
isn't really that it's a white test and we can be seen talking. The issue with the white test is it just takes another 5 seconds that we don't really have to spare if we're going to be completing missions. We
There's only
definitely at this point are going to need to do the microfilm on the return to the bookcase. We don't have time to do it on a window pad or anything silly.
And even if we do that, that's just 2 missions that we have. We need to still seduce, we need to still do something else. The microfilm is gonna be clean, but the time is definitely not on our side right now. The statue is picked up. The swap is gonna
Jeez.
be red, and we're putting it back down. Koopa is trying to late rush this game, but I'm not sure how successful it will be. We still need to seduce and one more. And we're going for a bug. It's completely visible. We are marked as suspicious, but there will be overtime because only 7 seconds are on the clock. We're trying to talk, we're getting overtime, and that's enough.
stuff here from you, Yeesh, but more importantly, good stuff here from the sniper. Koopa found a way to complete missions. That's 3 missions done in the last 23, 24 seconds. But it's a lot of action to do at the end of the game, and being able to shoot there, if not for the bug, for the flirt, really good stuff there, not dropping the game, and importantly getting that highlight as the bug came off, making sure that they were able to be prepared for the overtime shot. Uh,
Yeah, I love the patience. You see the bug, and it's clear bug in plain sight. You see the hand, but you don't shoot immediately because why? You can't just let them time out. So you just wait until overtime until you're sure that they're finishing, and then the shot comes off. Pretty
the
nice.
only reason to be taking a shot when they've completed the last mission with 5 or 6 seconds is if you're under the impression that they can somehow avoid you taking the shot, and that was not Smallman who was the spy. So pretty confident stuff there from Wrestler. It's still Sniper Party. We're now moving on to High Rise, which is going to be a bit more of a test. Let's do it in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Only one twin at the party. This should be a crime. Not just the only twin, but
Quick
also
book
this.
pull doesn't mean anything because microfilm's off. Again, we see Purloin off, which is one of the natures of this 3 of 6, because you're forced to take swap or microfilm. You're usually also choosing between fingerprint and Purloin as your 5th mission.
And well, I think this version is slightly more favored towards fingerprint than the other one. You get slightly more time, you get slightly less guests, which means that the amount of prints that the ambassador is gonna leave is gonna be higher on average, and also that the amount of chance that one person can collect both of them is gonna get higher on average. So, pretty nice option if you're trying to find a frame.
Yeah, 51% flirt here. Wrestlers been hitting their first screen flirts. As we know, though, it's the second one that's hard to hit. A bit of cast occurs there, 85%. Probably our most common flirt percentage that we see beyond, the starting 0 or 51-35. Just because it's so hard to hit, particularly that second flirt when you know it would definitely help out your game. A bit more thinking about it, too conscious of a action test.
Yeah, definitely pretty unfortunate. We are gonna put the book back in the bookshelf because there's literally nothing we can do with it. We can't print it because the print is not on it. We can't transfer it. I think a little bit too early on the bail from the briefcase there, but it still looked pretty fine.
Purloin's also off. Don't get too excited here, wrestler. Not that you would. 90 seconds left here, more or less, and 1 mission done. We've had this full conversation. I wouldn't mind if we try and make sure the Irish stays in that conversation until it fills up because we want a good contact. It looks like General has done the job for us. With the fingerprint here, nope, wrestler can't hit the screen when it matters. Uh, the contact is looking good as long as the actual double agent stays in conversation. Now for our
Oh,
second mission.
with that red fingerprint, I'm pretty sure that prints are off our game plan. We can still go for no, we cannot go for the banana bread anymore. The double agent decides to bail into the bookshelf, which is the most annoying one because it will take some time for them to get moving again.
I think we genuinely have to go mid statues now if we're going to complete missions. I don't see another option because Purloin's not on.
Means there is a world where we go back and swap, but I don't think Koopa will allow a swap on high rise.
This is very optimistic. This is a fingerprintable statue. We have no inspect, so it won't be completing fingerprints, and
Aha! We're
it's
not
only
even
one
inspecting.
fingerprint. We're
We're just
swapping
taking the
and then
swap,
green
and not even gonna go
bookcase.
for the book. Not even gonna go for the book. Just going into the
I
conversation. Maybe trying to get a bug off as the swap is happening, but yeah, no, this is not gonna fly against Koopa.
Yeah, I think the only option there is to truly go to the green bookcase. Uh, the bug covering swap. Bug is not a good distracting mission. Like walking at the ambassador is good.
Mhm.
Um, but the actual bugging of the ambassador, the whole reason why it's good at the very end of the game is because it's being watched heavily. Uh, with the question in chat from Useless Noob, which seems very similar to my name. How many people playing regularly? The casual, it's been pretty calm recently. We haven't seen like lobbies being completely full or anything.
I mean, wrestler is
But
always looking for games.
there are people who are looking to play. We have a Discord. We'll get it to you at the end of the cast, but somebody will probably put in chat. The competitive scene very much alive though, Useless Noob. If that's what you're asking about. As we move on to our next game, High Rise.
Yep, indeed. Our old friend, a very small but a very annoying and dangerous man, is on the loose, and let's see how wrestler will try to contain it in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, I get to do this chat every time that Smallman's picked. Smallman, not a great pick for being small on this map. You're not going to be like hiding behind people or getting a lot of cover. But things like swap, you're not likely to do. So like the fact that being small and the statues weren't going to be body blocked by anybody anyways. So really the big thing is time ads, but this is one of the worst time ads like setups in the whole game. You're really just picking Smallman for the fact that he's Smallman, which means you actually have a pretty mediocre bug.
I mean, there is some amount of cover possible in this venue, considering how the conversation is situated. Just right in front of the other, so there is some stuff you can potentially try to pull off in the back of that second conversation. However, it all depends on the angle, and I think that Koopa will be the person to take the right angle if any shenanigans are afoot.
Yeah, and 34%. Koopa's action tests have kind of let him down so far. I think this is pretty typical with some of our like really strong players. Is they have really good spy games, but they're a bit reliant on making sure that they are hitting their action tests. Uh, we witnessed Yeesh earlier, and Yeesh, while being one of the best action test players ever, I think they were definitely top before someone like Opie showed up. Also finds a way to win games when they aren't hitting their action tests. Uh, Koopa, really quality player, really annoying to play as a sniper. Makes good decisions here as a spy, but I feel like they struggle when they're not hitting their action tests and not being able to play the game as they truly want compared to like some players.
Well, we've hit two green tests out of three, as that flirt is finished with two green tests and one white. That's one mission done. There's two more to go. One of them is gonna be a banana bread, and there is a double agent right next to us. So
Bunch
pretty
of bugs
good
set up.
if we want to go for it.
The drink take kind of says that we're not going to take that bug, but between Ambassador and Queen, there would have just been a wall of people that would have hidden our arm. It would have been very like telegraphed. Uh,
Oh, and
we,
wrestlers
we,
on top of it. You hate to see that. People leaving right as soon as you start your white banana bread is actually quite annoying. And the laser penning off right afterwards? Wrestler knows that only one of the double agents is in a conversation, so he will just highlight for real. And now you're under suspicion for two missions out of three, and well, you do have two missions out of three. How are you gonna get that third done?
yeah, Koopa complained in chat. They were hoping for a civilian shot on Salmon as one of the characters. They are the SDA.
Ow.
From the sniper's perspective, you know that, or they were potentially a double agent. You don't know it as a spy. Ambassador is asking for the third mission to be bug. We could also do Purloin here. Ambassador is not close enough to say we'll stand here, so we can take it whenever we want.
10 seconds?
Maybe do it at 0 seconds. Just uh, do it at
5
the
seconds?
last possible second when they're
And the
lining up
bug
an
has
overtime
happened.
shot.
The bug is seen, and let's see how he dance. We do not.
Oh, it's the opposite of dancing. We're trying to hide behind the pole.
Oh, that was the play. Okay, I thought we just missed the pad. I was very confused there for a second.
Yeah, it's the stand still dance. He's trying to hide behind what is not a big enough pole to hide behind. But he was already the shot in mind. Cute little attempt there from Koopa, but I think what I was lining up the idea of doing the bug at 0 seconds. You're kind of the idea of it being that they're already lining up an overtime shot, and then while they're already zooming in on somebody, you then take the bug with a better line Smallman's bug and just the fact that you are Smallman means that this play is pretty low percentage in my mind.
It is a pretty cool idea in theory, but in this particular game, I think we were one of the two highlights and therefore one of the two most suspicious persons. So the likelihood of us being the overtime shot is very high, and it's way too high for that play to work, unfortunately.
Yeah,
That
I
said,
mean, the real issue, and this is often the case with competitive SpyParty, wasn't in the last 10 seconds. It was that we didn't
in
have
the
a
game
mission.
before that, yep.
Yeah, it's the other 3 minutes. We got Wrestler here as Boots on Aquarium. Let's get it started. 3, 2, 1, playing it.
I don't actually remember if Wrestler is likely to pull off any of the shenanigans. I think that Koopa is able to do them, and I think Koopa does those pretty regularly, but I'm not sure if Wrestler is doing those.
Yeah, and this is again another venue where if Wrestler can hit a lot of these green tests that they've been hitting so far, they can comfortably set up for things like shark walks, while Koopa is going to need to play just a bit more mechanically clean than they have so far, because the issue that happens with the shark is it's very dependent on the time on the clock. The
Mhm.
shark does the really pretty cycle, the one through the middle of the party, between 40 and 20 seconds. And if you are coming down to a clock, you're not able to set up for the 40-second window, or preferably the 1 minute 40-second window if you're doing a rush.
Banana bread.
Well, there's a mission that they have done. The first flirt was a green test, 51% on that. And, well, we were talking about the way how some might try to break that sniper times that has been happening so far. And a shark walk is probably one of the more potent ways that are left in our venue pool. Shark walking is essentially just completing your last mission behind the shark and then continuously moving behind the shark while your mission win countdown goes down to 0. Because in this game, you cannot shoot through the shark because we care about the animals. There's a highlight for inspects, but not for the fingerprint, I'm going to guess. So yeah, you just go to that left side statues, you inspect, you swap, you clank it because yes, and then you just move behind the shark for 10 seconds and hopefully your opponent is not able to shoot you.
This will be 2 missions if we can hit the green test. It's another big one because it really opens up our opportunities to finish quickly. Not rushing it. Here comes the green test. Good stuff from Wrestler. They've hit so many of these big green flirts. Has not paid off in actual wins yet for their spy, but um, I mean, we can win on just a fingerprintable statue too at this point. Wrestler's in a very comfortable position so far, though they are the nope, one of two highlights.
I think we have talked about this. You only need one spy win in a set like this to just win it all for you, so just getting those green tests eventually will result in something. And the likelihood of that eventually happening across 6 games is so much higher than the likelihood of it happening in one of them.
Yeah. Wrestler taking a drink here, which is going to fill our hand. It makes fingerprint and statues harder.
And the
But
investor is going to the sacred statue set.
yeah, we don't want to be, if we're doing a fingerprintable statue, we don't want to be doing it with the shark cover. We actually want to be nice and out in the open so we don't get shot for potentially trying to swap behind.
Well, we
The
have
perlight's
delegated.
going to go off, and it's to a low light, which is incredibly incriminating if it's noticed.
Well, the list is taken. We are going
Okay,
to the
why are
statues
we
to
doing 5
finish
missions?
our inspects. That's 6, I believe. Inspect, swap, fingerprint.
Yeah, that's
Way too
too
many
much.
missions.
Wrestler just lost count of how many missions they had. They did not need to send off that purloin, or if they do send off that purloin, uh, maybe it just only hoping that it would go off. If this is the plan to go to this particular statue, you could have chosen any other statue, and you wouldn't have also gotten the heat for the fingerprint. Um, yeah, just a weird little choice here from Wrestler, and good stuff from Koopa. Really, just ready to shoot for the second statue visit, if not the purloin. Just to answer the question in chat, Vivo asking what is green task. So, when you start up, open a game of Spy Party, it'll put you on a beginner mode, which doesn't have these action tests. But action tests are a button check to see if you can press the time, and if you do it really well, it'll give you a green test, or as we've been calling them. These will do things like, for example, the contact double agent. It will make it so you don't have to talk. Like there's no talking animation for the seduce target. It makes it so you get a higher percentage on your seduce. It gives a bit more variance in the game. The big ones that we're talking though with things like green swaps are making somebody else do the task entirely. Uh, we can have more people answer if you have questions in chat. They are an incredibly helpful community. As we move on to another game of Aquarium, it's been snipers shooting lights out. We haven't had a spy win yet, right, Yeesh? Or not Yeesh, Yosh?
Uh, oh right, I'm not Yish. I have to commentate this game and not play it. Yeah, we have not had a spy win just yet. Aquarium, I think, is one of the bigger chances, and I've talked about why. So let's see if Koopa is capable of breaking the tie so far in 3, 2, 1, playing it. And
Just to note, one more thing there, Vivo. There is also the red test. The if you do the action test really poorly, it does go both directions. These players are good enough that they're not going to be doing red tests very often, but it usually results in something very funny. For example, if you're trying to seduce someone and do a red test, they immediately run away from you.
it results in you being shot, which
As
I
you
don't think shooting people is necessarily the funniest thing in the world, but yeah.
Oh,
Uh,
red test cough into getting shot is the second funniest thing. The funniest thing is when you do a red test banana bread and then somebody else gets shot because they phantomed a cough or something.
oh,
Uh,
that's a classic. Either way, we
yeah,
are gonna go get our first flirt. 32%, unfortunately, the greens evade us for just one more time. And we are standing right next to the double agent, are we not?
yeah, an early banana bread does result in some pretty like early free lowlights. It makes the game harder because you just have a bit more of a spotlight on you even if you don't have a highlight. So it really needs to be a quality one. The double agent leaving here is still not good though.
But,
Oh,
but
to answer
sorry.
another question, chat, though chat should probably be answering these. The game's very much in development. It's been a long time here since we've had like our big next patch, but things like matchmaking and generally pushing towards final release are happening. It's just been a slow process because it is a solo dev. On other things that are a slow process, this flirt, we didn't get a green, so it's another white test. We're 66%, still comfortable to finish our flirt. We can still do that in one flirt, no matter as long as we're close to our seduction target. But this whole game's been slow progress. We don't actually have anything else to put our hat on.
And that's why I would prefer a quick banana bread, actually. Usually, if in a game with spy parties, a banana bread is a watershed moment for the sniper because it does signify a moment where you know a mission is completed, which would make it a very nice time for the sniper to know that, oh, I need to shoot now. I don't need to wait. I don't need to look for something else. The spy is probably finished. So a banana red earlier means that you're removing that safety check from the sniper to really think about it and makes them doubt just a lot more on every single statue inspect, on every single talk even potentially in sometimes.
Okay, this is going to set up for a potential purloin. Koopa doing a cheeky little thing there. Still gets the delegate, but didn't end up having to put a drink in hand. AI won't do that if wrestler notices it. He's definitely the geeky type who will know that sort of knowledge. But Koopa hasn't been highlighted or shot yet, so we'll see what happens when the actual delegate goes off.
It was a very cheeky play. It was so cheeky, it was behind the shark even. And at the same time, the master has been doing some very interesting things at the green bookshelf. So the sniper's attention was pretty nicely taken. And now we delegate, we stop talk. We are behind the shark, so the talk is not seen, but the delegate is still gonna happen. We do not have a drink in hand. I don't think we have been noticed at bar at all, so that might just be the way to win the game.
Choice too. He's been very active, including multiple statue visits. And unfortunately for Wrestler, but fortunately for Koopa, the sniper agrees. This is what we're talking about with things like the green test. This isn't actually a green test in itself, but your spy doesn't necessarily have to be the one always completing the missions. In this case, it is Wheels who is the one who takes the list, and that's enough for Wrestler to say, nope, Banana Bread done, probably Flirt done, Purloin done, and I know that you've been doing statues. That's 4 missions on any 4 of 8. That's enough for me. Good frame here from Koopa, though he was also on his way to potentially completing missions. It would have been tight with the amount of time we had left. Either way, that's our first spy win of the set. And if it continues going the way that it has been, that's probably a huge boon because it now means, kind of like breaking serve in tennis, that Wrestler needs to get it back. He needs to win on Spy. And Courtyard, while I would say is a good place to do it, not necessarily everybody agrees with me. Ooh, Wrestler noting in chat too, also had a fingerprint on it too. Disgusting stuff there from Koopa to frame precisely the right target. Let's do some Courtyard though. It's going to be Bling Twin, as we love to call him, compared to the plain twin who doesn't have a tie clip and an earring. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, I would actually agree with people. I don't think that Courtyard is necessarily the best place to get spy wins against a sniper who's impenetrable, and so far Koopa's sniper has been playing as such. Compared to some other venues in the set, which are, well, notably High-Rise and Pub, I think, are the ones who stand out, where you can just try to frame an AI and they are pretty likely to get 3 missions done.
I think the last time I played competitive Courtyard was against Rov, and he didn't see me do an inspect, so everybody's fallible.
Well,
Or
everyone knows
not
that Rob is
infallible.
not a good sniper, so
Yeah, of course.
he's just the best.
He's
He's
been
just the best.
so hot recently. This group is so loaded, but there's a lot of these groups of death, just multiple top players in the same group. Summer Cup as a tournament is not seeded, which means that we have groups that have like multiple new players, and some groups like this group B where every point matters. Uh, for someone like Koopa to take the lead as the sniper or with the spy win, this might be his full ticket to get out of this group. It's that sort of close.
You know, the first spy win is not just a moment where, oh, I. It's also a moment where the mental changes a bit, because now Koopa can just comfortably win the rest of his sniper games and check it out. And he doesn't need to try too hard on spy anymore, while Restaurant, on the other hand, has to force those wins, has to.
Banana bread.
The mental approach might change between the players, and I think it is a change that would be pretty favorable to Koopa in this position.
Good banana bread. Smallman didn't get a low light, and no Smallman low light means it's even better than it should have been. Uh, Wrestler as a position that we've seen a lot in this game. The very standard, I've got Seduce, I've got Contact, I've got
What
half
now?
of something else. What now? Preferably, I mean, Inspect and Fingerprints can be done at the same time if the ambassador is kind enough to touch a statue. It looks like it's probably going to be have to do a bit slower than that. We're going to do Inspects, and then
It
that
appears that
briefcase.
it has
It
been
don't.
good
That
enough.
briefcase has definitely been touched.
There's the first print, there's the first inspect, there is the second
Oh,
inspect.
there's a
We
fingerprintable
are in
statue.
which
He's going to win if this is not shot. 6 seconds.
the highlight comes off.
Highlight, but that's not a shot.
And
That is
that
a
is-
shot, but it's really close.
Wow.
And he was dipping there behind Twin. Let's check the clock here on this. The statues were the last mission completed. He did the fingerprint earlier at 41.8. It's a 10-second clock, and he shot him with 32.7. That is less than a second left for Koopa to take that shot. They used every moment to think, do I really need to take this shot? Because there's so many times that you're going to be taking this shot and it's an AI. It takes every moment they can afford and does make the correct shot. Holds serve, really necessary. It would be really a pity to have a good win on Aquarium and then lose it immediately in the next game. But quality play from both players. Just good spy being beaten by great sniper. Koopa now on boots. Any thoughts here before we jump into this game, though, Yosh?
This is a very annoying game to lose, because you've had it, right? You've had the last mission completed, you've had a highlight and you not a shot, and then it comes off in the last second of the timer. It's gonna be so annoying for Wrestler. Well,
Yeah, and Koopa mentioning in chat there that the twin confusion was what slowed them down because were two twins, and if you mix up which one has fingerprints, which one has inspects, you do end up shooting more twins than you probably should be. Koopa as spy. 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah, was just about to say there's no time to be annoyed, to be angry. Wrestler just needs to finish those sniper games, just needs to shoot out the rest of them, and just hoping for a spy win on pub. That's our only way to get the tie. Just sweep the rest of the games.
22% flirt. We kind of talked over it though. Koopa
Oh, hey,
did go for
go ahead
the
and restart it.
Hail Mary Chaos bug.
I got distracted by real life stuff.
Oh,
I missed the
we need to
countdown.
restart
Yes.
from the start?
Happens to the best of
Yep,
us,
from
happens
the
to the
top,
worst
yep.
of us.
Oh, good, because the first 5 seconds are the most exciting part here. Let's do it again in 3, 2, 1, go.
A game so nice, you watch it twice. There's a bug. It
And
is pretty on screen, but there's a lot of commotion around that hand.
yeah, so we colloquially call this the time of chaos. It's those first few seconds of the game where the AI haven't settled down, go into conversation. It really only takes 5 seconds for them to like really scatter uh, and resolve the chaos. But in that time, particularly bugs, but really any mission that can be done, are very powerful. In this case, Koopa didn't stick the bug, but there's little risk that he didn't get shot or highlight for the bug. Means that Koopa really was just playing with free money.
And even if they get shot, well, it's just another sniper win. And you don't care about just another sniper win. Sniper wins are the way you win. So Koopa has even less risks than anyone else would have because other people actually need to win spy games, and Koopa already got his.
Yeah, this is a good fingerprint because I didn't notice. I assume it was on this drink. If I
Oh,
didn't
there was
notice,
three.
there's a chance a wrestler didn't. 22% flirt, a bit less enticing. That's a flirt that you just took because he's there, and not because it was good.
Well, a little bit of progress here, a little bit of progress there will result in missions eventually, and with that green test, we are up to 66 and on track to get our 3 flare. A little bit
This
of a way too
contact
early.
could line up to be pretty good, though. It'd be nice if the other
And the
conversation
end of red.
filled up. It doesn't. It's gonna be a few lowlights. Looks like just 2 though. Pretty quality for the standard that we see on Courtyard.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good, honestly. Few highlights as well. A highlight on us as well. Not sure what for, but
It's behavioral. It's the first person to leave after a contact is so often the spy. If it's not that, maybe we broke an animation. Notably, we also didn't get into that conversation cleanly. Koopa just made a small mechanical error. It's all adding up. That's another mechanical error.
we had a few of them in a row. We're trying to go for that statue, but Twin was over here trying to pick up the case, and Wrestler looks at it, thinks about it, remembers that there is a fingerprint on that statue as well. And yeah, that's just a shot. That's just a shot.
This is I kind of alluded to it on the high rise game. Koopa can play some really good games. Koopa's an absolute monster when they're playing hot. There was like 3 mechanical errors in like 15 seconds there. Koopa, when they have a rough game, it can look pretty messy. It still was in a really good position if the sniper just wasn't looking at it. They were about to complete missions, but it's just a bit too much there for someone like Wrestler to not catch at least one of the few things that went wrong there.
Well, and now we are off to pub, our last venue, which makes this spy game probably the most important one of the whole set. Not counting that Aquarium win, naturally. But yeah, this one is definitely the more important one out of the two, because while sniper games are apparently very easy, the spy games are really hard. So, Wrestler, spine for a tie in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah,
250.
so with 3 of 7, I mean, we've seen a lot of rushes on this setup just because it only takes 3 missions and you have the full array of missions. But it's also really hard to hold a shot. Someone like Disney, who's picking up a statue here, has inspect, could easily be in conversation with a double agent, or somebody who if we do contact, could then later go to statues. And so you have to be conscious about who could potentially be completing flirt. And most people are near somebody and could be completing flirt. So it's really hard to hold your shot as sniper. From the spy side, you have limited time, only 2 minutes and 45, and pub is generally a pretty hard venue to complete missions on. You're going to get seen doing most things that you're able to do. So it's really hard for both players. It's very skill testing, and it's
This
a
is a
good chance
godsend.
here. Yeah,
Pub is
wrestlers
one of
hit.
the hardest venues to get flirt on, just because there is so much time spent walking between conversations.
This is
And the
wrestlers
fact
like
that
third or fourth to flirt too, right? Like they're
our,
just hitting every green.
our seduction target just straight up goes right next to us, you're gonna take that and you're gonna love it. Ooh, boys, this is very good. However, minute 30 on the clock, probably framing Purloin on Alice as
No, we got
well.
2 sips.
No.
Toby's judging us as an alcoholic, but more importantly, it's not what the AI would do. They would definitely just not have 2 sips. We're
If
doing
you
a
get
frame
delegated into
purloin.
Scalp,
Who is this framing? Twin?
Alice. Alice. She went right
Alice is
next
low
to
lit.
us. She was right next to us at pub. And we enter the conversation with a double agent. So we are more suspicious than Twin here. Oh boy.
So Alice is low lit. If anything, Koopa thinks that it's probably Twin. I think we broke animation on that step, but that's not going to be enough. Koopa just staring at the spy, waiting for them to say banana bread. But while they're staring at them, Wrestler takes a sip, and it's a bit jerky. Just a really small thing to catch, but that's enough to take another shot. Um, yeah,
That's one
just
of the pretty cool skill checks in this game because when you're looking at the entire party of how many hours there are, 15 people,
yeah.
you're not gonna notice them and you're not gonna be looking for them. But when you only have 2 people to stare at, a lot of those little behavioral things just creep out of the shadows to assault the spy in their dreams. And indeed, Koopa
I
gonna get their 6th.
I don't think that you need to feel bad about this. If you're getting shot for this sit break, if you say banana bread, you're gonna get shot anyways. It's not a huge deal. But it just shows that Koopa has that knowledge to play this very unique game. You don't end up with these 50-50 games too often, and is able to shoot for something very minute. This is, I believe, guaranteed their tie because they've just sniped 2
No,
games. Or is it
actually,
actually win?
Koopa is spying, and this has been shootout so far, except for one game. Koopa has sniped all of his games, therefore Koopa's up 7-4 right now.
Congratulations on Koopa. We're in the same spot that we were in the first set. This is what I like to call a victory lap. Koopa has guaranteed the victory. We do play him out because of tie breaks, but congratulations to Koopa. We can talk about why Koopa is so great in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Well, he's not
We can
that
talk about
great
why
because of
pub
his
is so
seduction target
crowded. Holy.
choices. Oh no.
He's gonna do
If
it
I,
one more time. For good luck. Let's just go through that door. Yeah, let's go.
if I see this, I'm just highlighting someone for bug out of
But
there.
Ambassador wasn't in the middle of it. It was just a mosh pit. That's very
Oh
funny.
no.
So yeah, Koopa has won this on the quality of their sniper. Not like Wrestler has played poorly. It's just that one game on Aquarium where Koopa had a very good frame. Nobody's been able to actually complete missions this whole set. Maybe as you're going into this game still has a lot of value in this very strong group. Maybe you just play a quiet game, unless you are handed a mission like the ambassador comes up next to you.
And that's not even to say that Wrestler Spy has been bad. There were very cool things tried and attempted up to and including that pub game where it was a 50-50 frame on the Purloin.
Wrestler
Unfortunately,
can be hitting as many two flirts as they are, and can find the lines for rushes. If you combine like Guggy's aggression and Wrestler's proficiency at two flirting, you'd have this absolute monster where just every game you have to feel like you could be rushed on.
honestly, for the sake of my personal sanity, I'm hoping that Wrestler and Gagi would never get crossed with each other ever. But
Who would, if you could
that,
combine 2 players to make like the ultimate like Voltron player, who comes to mind immediately?
I mean, probably some of those more savage snipers out there, I think Rov is probably the one in my mind currently as the best potentially sniper in the game right now. So
I was thinking you take Rov and then you just go find your best spy and you
Enemy in the
combine them
red.
yeah, the
instead
best
of.
spy possible. I'm not sure who that is necessarily because spy is a less favored side in the equation.
Bullet to
Ooh, a
the face. Wrestler is
sharp.
done with this. Shooting for the flirt. Maybe wouldn't have necessarily done this shot if it was still the match in the line, but it's general. They probably have bug.
And
At
also,
least a percentage of
General
the time.
just bailed out on the banana bread before that
Yeah.
as well, and insta-talked on entry, so there's two behavioral red flags in a row.
Stuff from the wrestler to clean up this game. But again, congratulations to Koopa. And as we're saying, we'll probably end up casting some more Group B sets if you guys stick around. We're going to be doing these weekly, I believe. We got both SCL and Summer Cup to cast here recently, so it's going to be a lot of SpyParty if you're looking for it, if you're following the channel. That being said, Group B is definitely a group to watch out for. Like we said, both these players very quality, but the whole group is full of players of this level of quality. So this is a huge thing for Koopa to be able to get out of the group. He's beaten one of 4 demons, and Wrestler's still not out of it because even someone like Koopa could lose a game or two in the future just because of the quality. Really fun set, at least for as it comes from the sniper. I really liked particularly that Courtyard game, holding the shot there and thinking about it until the last moment. Really gets my blood rushing there here as a caster. Yosh, final thoughts.
Yeah, a very good showcase for things to come as our first match of the most of the group with the highest floor is how it was described and is the description that I'm gonna sign up to as well. Uh, yeah, the good showcase of things to come because out of 12 games in that set, 11 of them were sniper wins, and it's not like the spies were bad. So
I would say, yeah, out of those games, 11 of them were good spy games, and the bad one was Koopa just making 3 mistakes in a row, and it's a toss-away game. So, yeah, just really good stuff all around. I mean, same for the first set, though. It was the spies who were really showing off there. If you want more of this, in regards to just watching Spy Party, definitely feel free to follow the channel. There's going to be SCL, which is just our regular league and cast in that regard, but also the seasonal cup that is Summer Cup. This is our first of many casts. If you're looking to play the game, I mean, beyond just picking it up on Steam or SpyParty.com, uh, I know there are general concerns in regards to the player base and whatnot. The best way to get part of the community, be able to look for games, and generally or join competitive is hit up our Discord. Somebody will drop it in chat.
discord.gg/spyparty. I believe it is a public server, so you can even
Yeah,
find it with the server find feature on the Discord itself.
and
And the other thing
beyond,
that I want to shout out as a person who has ran the auxiliary tournament last year
please.
for Summer Cup, the Hedgehog Hotel, I am not doing it this year, but I have found someone who will do it instead of me.
Mhm.
The signups for Megalodon Motel, I believe that's how that's pronounced,
Yep.
hopefully, are open right now. You will need to come up in contact with Legorv Chinin, who is the person who's running it, and I'm wishing him the best, and I'm hoping that that will be such a success like all of the other tournaments have been before. It
Yeah,
is a
just so
very good, pretty much perfect tournament for you to sign up, even if you think that you're new and will not stand up to the competition. It is a Swiss. It is pretty casual, I think. So, yeah, jump in. It is pretty nice.
yeah, it's going to be filled with players who have gone out early in this tournament, and then often it pulls 5 to 10 new players. Some who are new and we don't see them again. Some who become absolute monsters. Someone like Koopa, for example. I feel like might have joined in as their first, being the equivalent of what's coming up with Megalodon Motel. Anything that you want to add, Cletus, as you close us out?
No, nothing really. Just thanks for watching. There will be another uh, Summer Cup cast tomorrow. Ignore the times on screen right now. It's these cards are very old. They've been used for the last 3 years or so, 4 years. maybe. But yeah, actually, I mean, it'll be around 5 p.m. Pacific. I don't know. So just figure that out for your own time zones, or check if you're on the Spy Party Discord. You'll see the times there automatically matching your time zone and whatnot. And yeah, that's it. Thank you, Noob and Yosh, for casting.
Yep.
And
Those
thank
are
you.
people.
Yep. And
That was good fun. Appreciate you inviting me.
Yep.
Or Opie, I guess.
Opie did.
Shout
Opie
out to
did.
TOs. Opie writes is
Yeah.
our TO, and he set up all the venues, and they're clearly biased towards him. But beyond that, we love him, and really, I mean, even to you, Yosh, I know that you're not running it this year, but to anybody who organizes anything or anybody who hosts anything in the background, we adore you. So thank you guys for joining us, and you have a lovely rest of your day.
Bye.